Okay, so we're gonna keep working on the activity we had in class that we didn't finish today, which is using formulas with fractions. And so every problem pretty much has a formula that we're gonna try to decide what to plug in and then whether we need to simplify or solve to get our answer. Don't forget to answer in complete sentences. Also, you're going to want a calculator, so a scientific or graphing calculator to help with the fractions. And every calculator seems like it's a little bit different, so make sure you use what you did today in class to help with the calculator. Okay, so let's go ahead and start. We've got this revenue function. Revenue is R, X is the year, and they want us to find the revenue in the year 2005. So I'm going to plug in X equals 2005, since X was the year. So I get R equals 7/2 times 2005 minus 7,000. And we need to show our steps here. Don't just plug that all into your calculator, but you can still use the calculator to help. So with order of operations, we know we need to multiply first, then subtract. So I can use the calculator to help with that multiplying step. See what I get. Okay. And my calculator went ahead and switched to a decimal. That's all right. If you need to answer with a fraction, you can always switch it back to a fraction at the very end. So I'll show you both the decimal and fraction answer at the very end. Okay, copy down the rest of the problem, and now I'm ready to subtract. So minus 7,000, and I get 17.5. So R equals 17.5. If you need to switch that to a fraction, you have the F arrow D button on there, and that's going to give you 17.5. All right, let's write our final answer with units in a complete sentence. So in the year 2005, the revenue was, let's see, it's in billions of dollars, so we need to have a dollar sign or write the word dollars, and also make sure you include billions. So the revenue was $17.5 billion. Or you could use the 17.5, either way. Okay, so that's number 9. Number 10 is similar. We've got the same formula given, but now they're telling us to find the year when the revenue was 7 billion. So instead I'm plugging in X, I'm actually plugging R equals 7. Don't worry about the billion part. This formula was given in terms of billions of dollars, so we just need to plug in only the 7. So I get 7 equals 7/2 X minus 7,000. And this is an equation I need to solve. So we talked about solving equations. It helps to draw a vertical line, and then anything you do on the right side of the vertical line, you've got to do on the left side of the vertical line. We always add or subtract first, and then multiply or divide. So I need to first just take care of this minus 7,000. If it's subtraction here, then I'm going to go ahead and add 7,000 to both sides. So that gives me 7,007 equals 7/2 X. Okay, and last step, divide. This is 7/2 times X. They don't write times, but if you don't see anything, you can assume that's a times symbol or multiply between them. So let's go ahead and divide to solve for X. So 7,007 divided by 7 fraction button 2, and I get the year 2002. So again, I'm using my calculator to help, but I'm still showing my steps. Your calculator can't do everything, right? You've got to do some of the solving yourself and just use the calculator to take care of some of the fraction arithmetic. So in the year 2002, the revenue was 7 billion. So that's my complete sentence. Okay. Moving on to number 11, I've got a formula here that converts between Fahrenheit and Celsius. They want me to convert 71 degrees Celsius into Fahrenheit, so 71 is going to go in for the C, since C was degrees Celsius, so C equals 71, and plug that in. So I don't know F, leave that alone. I get F equals 9/5 times 71 plus 32. So just like we did on number 9, we can use the calculator to help with the math. Just show your steps. So first I'm going to multiply So 9/5 times 71, that gives me 127 4/5. Your calculator might have given it to you as an improper fraction. Either one is fine. Sometimes the impropers are easier to work with, so if you got 639/5 instead, that's okay. And then I'm going to add 32 onto that. So for our final answer, because this is a real life problem, put it as a mixed number or as a decimal. So as a mixed number, when I add 32 onto it, I get 159 4/5. Or if you had it end up as a decimal, we get 159.8. Okay. Final answer, write it as a sentence. So 71 degrees Celsius means it is 159 4/5 degrees Fahrenheit. Or again, you could have used the decimal there. Or you could have said, temperature of 71 degrees Celsius is 159 4/5 degrees Fahrenheit. Just somehow relate the two, and put your final answer there with units. All right, number 12. I've got a model car is scaled so that I've got 2 inches on the model to 3 feet on the actual car, and then they're telling me that the model in inches is given by the letter M, and then the car is actually n feet. And I've got my equation here. How tall is the model if the actual car is 5 feet tall? So that's telling me n equals 5 to plug in. So I've got m over 5 equals 2/3. Here you've got the choice. If you remember how to cross multiply from a different class, even though we didn't cover it, I'm okay with that. You can cross multiply. Or if you want to use what we've done in class, just multiply both sides by 5, because you see it's m divided by 5. The inverse operation is to multiply by 5. So I'm going to go with that second method since that's what we were doing in class. So again, it's division here, so that means I'm going to have to multiply both sides by 5. So I have m equals, right, the 5's cancel. That's why we picked that operation, and I just get m equals 2/3 times 5. Again, you can use your calculator for the fraction arithmetic. So 2/3 times 5, it gives me 3 1/3. Or if you got an improper fraction, you would have had 10/3, but again, it's a real life problem, so go ahead and switch that to a mixed number, 3 1/3, or the decimal is fine too, so that would be 3.333, 3 repeating. All right, final answer is a sentence. So a car 5 feet tall has a model that is 3 1/3. I believe that was in inches, so 3 1/3 inches. Okay, moving on to the last page. Number 13, again, another formula. Let's try to figure out where to plug everything in. We've got the volume of a pyramid. V is the volume, S is the length of the side of the base, H is the height. They want us to find the height, and we know the base is 3 feet, so the length of the side of the base is 3 feet, so S equals 3. The volume is 12, so V equals 12, and we're looking for our H. So plug in your S, plug in your V, and then we'll try to find H. So up here where V is, I have 12. Got a 1/3 I'm copying down, and then S is 3, so 1/3 times 3 squared times H. Again, we don't know what H is. Before we start solving, we want to divide both sides, right, to get the H by itself, but maybe clean this up first, right, actually figure out what that number is. So I've got 1/3 times 3 squared is 9, and then 1/3 times 3, that's the same thing as 9 divided by 3, that's going to give me a 3 there. And again, if you're wanting to just check your work, use your calculator. 1/3 times 9 gives you 3. So I'm ready to now divide both sides by 3, and I get 4 equals h. So the height of the pyramid is 4, and I believe it was in feet. I always got to look back for those units. So the height of the pyramid is 4 feet. All right, one more. Number 14, I've got the area of a trapezoid, and A is area, little a and little lowercase b are the lengths of the bases. So if they're saying one base is 2/3 of a foot, I've got A equals 2/3. The other base is 2 feet, so B equals 2. The height is 1.5 feet, so I've got H equals 1.5. Where we talked in class about how you might want to just switch that to an improper fraction to make it a little bit easier to plug into your calculator down the road. So I can switch that over. So it's a mixed number, it's 1.5. Shift that over, and that's going to give me 3/2 to plug in. Alright, so I'm ready to plug in A, B, and H. So capital A equals 1/2 times 2/3 plus B, which was 2. So I'm just plugging in A and B here, times H, which is the 3/2. And simplify that. So 2 plus 2/3 is just going to be 2 2/3. Or you could switch that to the improper fraction. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So again, if you want to just have it all with your calculator helping, you do 2/3 plus 2. That gives you 2 2/3. And then switch that to an improper fraction, you get 8/3. So generally improper fractions are the most helpful way when you're doing the math calculation. It's just like a little bit simpler to plug in or type into your calculator. Also, if you're doing the math by hand, definitely much easier that way, right? You can just multiply across at this point. But for your final answer, that's when you want to go back to a mixed number to a decimal. So anyways, let's finish this up. So multiply straight across. So I've got 24 over 2 times 3 times 2, which is 6 times 2, 12. Oh, and that actually just works out really nicely. I get 2 for my answer there. So A equals 2. So the area is 2, what was that, in feet? So square feet. So remember with area, it's going to be square units. So you can just put a little 2 exponent there for square feet. Okay, and that's it for the rest of this activity from class.